Busy week in Canadian politics. There is lots to talk about with CTV News political commentator Scott Reid. Good morning, Scott. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Let's start with Canada, Mexico, U.S. Clearly, we heard from Dominic LeBlanc yesterday that these consultations are going to open up with businesses, with industry. What are we expecting over the next few months before we finally get to that actual review of CUSMA into next year?
We expect a lot of anxiety. Look, Canadian industry and business leaders and labor leaders who will all be part of these consultations are watching very keenly the Oval Office to see if Trump tries to move precipitously to not just review North American free trade, but to signal that he intends to end it. And that is the real fear. And that, in many respects, that fear is what brought Mexico and Canada together. That's what brought our two leaders together in such common cause this past week. There is a real anxiety that Donald Trump dislikes free trade. He particularly dislikes multilateral free trade agreements. He thinks that that works to the disadvantage of the United States, and then he wants to do away with CUSMA. And so there's going to be a tremendous amount of anxiety on the part of business, labor, because if CUSMA is eliminated, a few things surely follow. Prices will go up, jobs will go down, and growth will slow. And so there is a tremendous amount at stake.
Yeah, and clearly, and again, it still feels so unpredictable, too, as we continue to deal with the President of the United States. I want to ask you, too, at least for now, about the hate crimes legislation that was introduced yesterday. We heard some pretty detailed, again, from the bill and what's going to be presented in the House of Commons from Justice Minister Sean Fraser. What do you make of that? Is it overdue at this point? It's been something I think that, a lot of the different groups have been calling for from the government for quite a while.
Yeah, there's no question the government's been under pressure to take action in this area, specifically with thoughts to Jewish community, the rise of anti-Semitic attacks in synagogues, places of worship. And so, it's a very detailed bill, and I don't think anyone will find fault for it, for having been rushed or ill-considered. It's really precise. I think maybe the most important element of it, and it gets a little overlooked because it's such a small detail, but so significant, is that the police will no longer have to run to the Attorney General to first seek pre-clearance to lay charges for hate propaganda, for the use of symbols, and imagine a swastika, if you will, as an example. And I think that's a real importance. That will take the handcuffs, so to speak, off of the police and be able to move, lay charges. And I do think that's something that the community will react to. But interesting thing for us to watch for.
Yeah,
how do the Conservatives react?
Yeah, because
will they support it?
Sorry, go ahead, Scott.
No, sorry to jump your next question maybe there, but it will be really interesting to watch because we know this is the first of 2 or 3 crime bills that are going to be introduced into the House of Commons. We'll probably see more next week from the government. And so will the Conservatives say doesn't go far enough, isn't hard enough, because they've been very tough on the government on crime, and they've made traction. They own that issue, if you will, as a political issue. But these measures, perhaps they will actually win the support of Conservatives. So it's going to be very interesting to watch the political math as Poilievre calculates whether or not he wants to lend support to the government on this issue or whether he wishes to continue to criticize and place pressure on the government on this issue.
Yeah, it was what I was going to ask you, too, with what coming next week, and they've been so hard on crime and looking for it. Do you believe that Pierre Poilievre, they finally back in the House of Commons, going back and forth with the Prime Minister as things started a little more cordial and continued, some more attacks later in the week. But at least for you and seeing that bill and what's coming here for the next couple of weeks in the House, should the Conservatives look at supporting this, or politically, where is the right move, do you believe, for them in the next 10 days or so?
I think politically for them, they're going to want to find fault and difference with the government, at least on some of these bills. So it may be on this piece of legislation, the hate crimes legislation introduced on Friday, that they might be able to support the government with their votes. I'll be really interested to see what the government says and does on bail reform. That is an issue that has been an ATM of votes for the Conservatives. I don't think they'll want to give it up easily, and I suspect the government will feel some constraints. It's easy in opposition to say, hang them high. Much harder to do when you have to actually worry about constitutional challenges and other considerations when you're in government. So it'll be interesting to see. That's the one that I would circle and say there's going to be a showdown and will likely be around bail reform.
And we will see what happens. CTV's political commentator Scott Reid. Scott, thanks for this, as always.
Thanks. Have a great weekend.